Something's telling me this Milwaukee drill has seen one too many diesel fuel baths, because that is officially cooked. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another video, guys. We are jumping back on the white MegaCab G56 build. It is about time to kick it into high gear. We are staying on this beast until it is done. If you're anything like me, I am sick and tired of seeing this truck without a bed, so we kind of focused on the rear end, getting everything done. That's way easier to do without a bed on there. Rear shocks, got the hitch back in it, diff cover's done, traction bars are on. Like I said, anything that would just be a little bit more of a pain with the bed on, so got all that tightened up. That's right. We busted out the paintbrush and touched up all the bolt heads, because I know somebody was going to say it. Diff cover, AMSOIL severe gear oil in that bad boy. King 2.5s. I'm really digging the Jamaican teal mixed with the white and the King blue in the shocks. I think it all kind of like really ties together very nicely. Excited to see what the bed is gonna make it look like. Again, don't mind the black wheels. Those probably, well, not probably, those are not staying, 1000% not staying. Those King 2.5 shocks are no joke, compressing those in. So I do jack the truck up to try to shorten the distance that they need to be compressed. And what I ended up doing, I kind of did a couple of different variations after beating my head against the wall. Put the top ones in, and then took a jack and with a nice pad went underneath here and used the jack to kind of guide it in while compressing it, because those will leave you crying on the ground if you're not careful. So those are a task, but those are in and done. And we are ready to push the truck ahead, grab the bed from over in the corner, set the bed back on, and just keep trucking away on this build. We got tons of parts over here. We got tons of parts over here. Lots of stuff to do. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna keep on keeping on. So there's a quick look at the rear. If you guys missed the last video on this truck, complete fuel system, cleaned, ready to go. New air dog pump, clean tank, new sending unit, whole 9 yards. Perfect, ready to rip. And we painted everything, and it looks absolutely awesome. Number one question that I always get, it's just Rust-Oleum pro grade undercoating in a can. It comes out really well. Same stuff that I put on my 08 way back in the day. It's the same stuff that I've been using. It's accessible, it's easy, covers really well, and it lasts long. A little bit of a tedious job by yourself, but bed is back on with no issues, no damage report. Just want to show you guys, because I am overly thrilled. Take a look at the air dog placement. It is perfect. It landed exactly where I thought it was going to land. It looks a little funny without the bed there, but as you guys can see, the bed support right here. Let me try and get in a little bit closer just so you guys can see. Plenty of room on that front bed support. It just nicely fits in this little pocket here. It is well above the body line to kind of just be tucked away from all of the road debris. The fender liner kind of like covers it up right here, so none of that gets damaged or anything like that. And it's just a really nice spot to put those things. So if you guys missed it in the fuel system install video, went over the bracket that I made to kind of put this pump in this location. Super easy to do, and it is just nice, tucked, out of the way, just how it should be. So that's a win. We'll go ahead and bolt the bed down. That way we don't forget to do that. And we will keep rocking on with putting the rest of the truck back together. I mean, we got the bumper sitting right here. We got more than a fair share of stuff to keep working and tackling. So I don't know. I kind of want to just put the taillights I want to kind of like almost wrap up the rear end, and just seeing a little bit of paint match on this thing will you know, get me some motivation and just keep me rolling, I think. So might go ahead and do that, get all the wiring done underneath there, because honestly in the back we're getting pretty close. Just in case you didn't know, you can actually adjust your bed. It will slide like back and forth and side to side just a little bit when the bolts are in the bed. So got it adjusted, locked it down. Same with the rear bumper, got that all set, got all our harnesses plugged in. We are moving on to taillights and third brake light, because, you know, the factory red incandescent nonsense just not gonna cut it. We've talked about this in the last video. If you guys need clips and fasteners, this is where I get them. These do break quite often. They go right there. When you pull the taillights out, they usually stay in the body. I always put them in the taillight before I put it in. If you try to leave these in and try to like slide the tabs in there with doing that, I feel like it's just way harder. It messes up the clips. So I always take these clips out, put them in the new taillights, then you'll see they kind of just like snap right in. So just be leery of these things. They've got like 3 little tabs, and a lot of times they'll break or become weak, and that's really what kind of like holds your tail light in here on the side. So if you need clips, go check them out. 5th gen taillights. Let's take a look at these bad boys. So our man Cam from Knockout Customs painted these 5th gen taillights up. We pretty much, I mean, I can't even think of an instance that we didn't do 5th gen taillights in a 4th gen. It's kind of the go-to. You can paint them quite a bit. You can paint them quite a few different ways. So this is kind of what we came up with for this truck in the color scheme. But 5th gen taillights are king in my opinion. What you need to do, so they bolt right in. Also, don't get 5th gen 1500 taillights. They have to be from a 3500 for them to work. Just so you know, you can find good deals on 1500 ones all day long. Retro Shop here is the company that makes the adapter harness, and there's 2 different harnesses depending on if your truck came with factory LED or factory incandescent taillights. It does make a difference when you go to adapt to the 5th gen taillights. So that's all you need right there. You need a set of taillights, get them painted up. And for the third brake light, we went with a Morimoto unit. Got that thing painted up. So we're gonna throw these bad boys in. Oh yeah. gen taillights, third brake light, they look absolutely killer, as we knew that they would. Moving to the front, we started taking some things apart. We made some discoveries, so quite a bit to go over here. So headlights are out, fog lights are out, grill is out, and we were planning on changing up the inserts in this grill. Come to find out, I believe 10 to 12, and again, first 10 to 12, so I don't really know these things. 10 to 12 grills are a little bit different than 13 plus. So if you guys have been following along, you guys know these are my favorite inserts ever. We put them in pretty much almost everything. My plan was to put those inserts in this grill. Come to find out, I think the whole shell is a little bit different, not to mention kind of how the inserts are held into the grill. So we might be sticking with that. I'm not exactly sure. We've got all the new lighting over here. We'll kind of get to that in a little bit. We are getting ready to remove our factory coolant tank because we've got a whirly coolant tank. It just kind of like ties in everything much nicer, able to powder coat it. So we still need to do a little razzle McDazzle underneath there, but we're going to be moving towards the front suspension. If you don't have one of these tools, it doesn't need to be Snap-on obviously, but this body trim removal tool, this is going to be probably, if someone were to ask me like my top five couldn't live without, this bad boy right here. Go ahead and just do yourself a favor. It just makes life so much easier. Went to go start on the coolant tank, and of course, what's the first thing that we need to grab? That would be this bad boy. We used it on the fog lights, the grill cover piece. I'm not sure if it's just these trucks, but before you even get to use your 10 millimeter, you got to use one of these bad boys. So the Snap-on one is really nice. I will say that. I do have cheaper versions of this, but go get yourself a nice one of these because you will be using it a lot. As you guys can see, we got her jacked up. Where's our lifts? Where's our lifts? Everybody wants to know where the lifts are. Why don't we have new lifts in the shop? Guys, we'll break it down real quick. We've got a first gen project that a couple of you guys have been asking updates for. So we got the frame, all the parts, Metal by Charlie, first gen build. We've got the bed, the body. It's actually it's basically taking up 2 full bays inside the shop because I want to try and keep it as nice as possible. With the amount of projects that are going on, we have decided to kind of, and I think that I've already said this, but I can't remember. We're teaming back up with Charlie, and he is going to help us complete the truck 100%. We're going to bring it back up there when the time is right, when he's got enough space. It is coming up very, very soon. But he had a couple big projects that he needed to get out of the way just because it's taking up this much space here, it's gonna take up that much space there. So he wants to be ready to jump on it. So we are waiting to transport all that stuff back up there because if it's just up to me, myself, and I, if you gave me 2 years, I could say maybe, but he's gonna help us out. But we don't have lifts in the shop because some of the lift locations that I already have planned out, that have already been pre-wired up in the ceiling for, are in these locations, and I'm not gonna go ahead and just reorganize everything just to put, like, this doesn't bother me. I'm actually happy that you guys are that concerned about my health and my well-being, that you guys care so much about the lifts. I know I'm making a big deal, but anyway, I'm not scared of doing this stuff on the ground. It's not a big deal. I pulled countless transmissions on the floor, not scared to do it. Anyway, lifts are coming. Let's get back into the suspension and the video though. We've already kind of disassembled a lot of this stuff. As you can see, there's no shocks in this thing. There's no sway bar. The track bar just kind of is loosely put back in. So half this stuff is already gone in preparation for kind of like painting the frame, all that stuff. So we've got the body jacked up high enough that when I drop the jacks, the front axle will drop far enough for those big new tall coils to go in. It was looking raked before because those are factory coils. So we got it up high enough, the axle will drop. We're gonna undo the steering, undo the track bar. We have new control arms that are gonna be extended to push the axle a little bit out when we go up. Big kind of question, and again, this may seem maybe common knowledge, but I just sold the old 2-inch suspension off this truck. A lot of people asking the same question of, it's a 4th gen, right? They should all fit. No, 10 to 12, as you can see, we still have kind of, it's almost like a 3rd gen suspension on a 4th gen. We have control arms, we have a bigger coil, I would say, size-wise, and we have a shock that goes inside of the coil. Once you get to 13, I believe is the exact year. Every time I say a year, you guys correct me, but I'm pretty sure 13 and up is the jump to the radius arm. So you lose the control arms and you go to that big long radius arm that has 2 connecting points and 1 on the frame. The other thing, big thing that changes as far as like leveling kits goes and leveling kits go and springs and shocks is they moved the shock location outside of the coil. Coils are much smaller. Shock is on the outside now, so it is a completely different setup. So just make sure you guys are aware of that if you guys are buying used stuff or just general knowledge. The suspension change is actually quite a bit. You can't flip-flop that stuff. So we're gonna go ahead, disassemble the rest of this stuff. No big deal taking the rest of the suspension stuff out. Really not that hard. What I want to try to show you guys, and we'll have to work through, we ran into the same thing kind of on the blue 3rd gen truck that we did. The issue that arises is you guys can see how far this axle is dropped. We still do have some room to go, but again, you want to lift it up pretty high. The arms, you guys can see, we are pretty close to touching right here. And honestly, that looks like it might actually be touching right there. So when we're doing the arms, because the arms is next, and we try to drop this axle down, we have powder coated arms. And really, the challenge is to not mess up the nice powder coated stuff while dropping this axle far enough to get the additional height inside there. So that's a little bit of the challenge. We got some plans, we've got some workarounds, but just know going into it that with the control arms kind of situated like that, that is the challenge of dropping it far enough, having enough room to get that coil in, and not scratching anything. Happy to tell you guys that no powder coat was harmed with the installation of the coils and the arms. There are a few things that I learned with this truck that I want to go over. Now, 10 to 12, or let's just call it 12 and down trucks. So 3rd gens, 10 to 12 trucks. 13 and up are different enough that these are a little different. So a couple things that even I learned on this truck with these coils. Like I mentioned, the issue with dropping the axle far enough down to get enough height to put that coil in. Again, we dropped it down so you have just enough room between this arm and this axle bracket. That's all the clearance you get. That's all the downward travel you get with the axle. I did have to muscle that coil in. Even in the Carly instructions, which who reads instructions, say that additional leverage or a coil compressor may be required. That tells me that they know that that coil is big, but it's for a reason. The ride is pretty much unmatched. So the coil is what it is. You got to stuff it in there. You got to do whatever you need to do, muscle it in there, lift it up. It will go in. but it is doable. You just got to have a little bit of muscle behind it. Second tip is indexing this coil. And again, 13 and up, they have a different isolator up top. They have different indexing points. They have left and right, different axle, the way the perch is on the bottom, or the coil bucket. So totally different. So 12 and down, they have a Carly logo on here, and there is no left and right. So I saw no left and right, and I didn't really pay attention to kind of what the instructions said. What the instructions say is just have the Carly logo facing out. But what that's doing, because there's no indexing point here, no indexing point here, you're just relying on a logo to place that coil, which is no longer here. So I talked to Andrew from CJC, and he said, no big deal. These trucks 12 and down aren't that big of a deal as far as like where they get indexed. The way that they install them is, if you look here in the bottom of this axle, you'll see that is actually a drain hole for water to escape out of this bucket. So if you've ever dealt with a front axle where you've got some rust buildup, you know that this inside here where that coil sits kind of tends to get rusted up. And I think it's because there's no way for the water to drain out of it. So the way that they install them on both sides is just so that that drain hole is visible and able to kind of work. So that's the way we set them, and that's the way that they do them, and I feel confident in that. So just kind of like know, even if you're installing other coils, maybe make sure that your drain hole is open right there. Check it out. We have got the suspension pretty much, besides the final torque and figuring out exactly what we want to do with the reservoirs, we're pretty much done. It's looking really, really good. I'm super pumped with how it turned out. I'm not exactly sure if we're gonna try to make a custom mount for that reservoir or mount it the way that they want you to do it. Usually they just bolt it right to the frame there with some kind of like generic brackets that they make. In the past, before, we have been able to kind of put it up here, so we're kind of waiting and deciding on that to call that complete. A little bit of touch up. Like I said, we need to torque all the bolts down, but it is back on its weight underneath the smaller jack stands, and it is looking good. That is pretty much going to wrap up this video, where we're going to end this one off. Tons of progress on the white truck, still tons of details to do, so there will be another video on this beast, but I am super pumped with the way it is turning out. Hopefully you guys found some of those tips and tricks helpful, and we will see you guys in the next video very, very soon. See ya.